November 2nd, 2020. Gonna do a second walk in the park, guys. My son got done with his business a little bit early today, so gonna walk. I can always go for another mile. I enjoy walking. Get some good exercise in. Run up a little bit so they can hear me a little bit better. It's warming up a little bit better now, guys. What time you got?
11:09.
11:09.
That's not bad.
I was here about an hour ago. There's a lot of strange things go on in these parks. So I know down here off Police Summit Road at the end, I was pulling in, there's a truck pulling in there this morning, okay? Caught it on the dash cam. So it's been a little over an hour. There's a guy sitting, there's still a guy sitting in it. When my son come back, I didn't remember I'd be back today, and it's still sitting there. What are they doing? What are they doing back up in the woods over in that corner over there? That's weird. That's right. So what they don't get, what I don't get, you know that intersection there? There's a whole bunch, what they don't realize, even, like when I talked about putting some cameras in the park, yeah, I mean, it would be good to have some extra cameras up here in the parking lot to show what they're doing. That's why I suggested that. But at those intersections, there are cameras all the way around. Anybody goes in, anybody comes out. When we go in, we go out. Anybody goes in, anybody goes out. They can see. So, if they think they're getting away with anything, if say the police or anything else really wanted to look hard and see who's coming in and out of here and doing what they're doing, they could do it. You know, they brought up about these, they put in new cameras all over the place in different sections. Shoot, 2 weeks ago, up there by 7-Eleven, you know where all the activity and stuff goes on? They were putting new cameras up there. And they make the cameras like you can, the personal people can buy. That's nothing compared to what those cameras can do. So, interesting. I find it very interesting on some of that stuff. But the cameras are only as good as if who's behind the camera and who's watching to see what they're doing. You know, I talked about basically like up there in Raytown School, had bought a house over in that area. Don't ever buy a house by an elementary school or any school. Those places are a nightmare unless it's got activity all the time because nobody watches it. And they know it's a fair game place where they can deal their drugs and stuff. I think I found that other tape from up in Raytown. Remember I told you guys they put a fence up there, but even if they put a fence up, they didn't lock the gate. You know, if you don't lock the gate, you can't keep people out if they're doing bad things. But I got a video showing them, actually they were dealing, this one guy, he was actually using kids on bicycles to deal the dope up there at Fleet Ridge Elementary School. I tried for 2 years. I got tired of messing with Kansas City, Missouri because it was just like, yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing. You know, Kansas City, Missouri, always talking about doing something. Kansas City, Missouri don't do that. So, I mean, I got tired of it. I mean, it was like, we have to come out here all the time. Well, you know, you pay taxes. They annexed that area over there in Raytown. Well, if they weren't going, that's theirs. That's Kansas City, Missouri over there, but it's the Raytown School District, Raytown School. And they wouldn't do nothing about it. I'll see if I can bring that up, get one of the old VCRs up. I'll play it down the line for you guys. I'll see if I can find it. I know I found one of the tapes. I gotta go back and check and see if that's the one that's got it all on there. Because they were up there at that school every night. I mean, you know, everybody turns a blind eye to all that stuff, so, well, just don't look that way. Well, if you don't look that way, it's just like anything else. If you don't look that way long enough, you might just lose your freedom. You know? You might have to wear a mask when you exit your house every time. Is that going to the gulag, maybe? I don't know, guys. I mean, I think being here in the USA is pretty nice and having freedom. You know? That's what's interesting about all this. But see, the thing of it is, you have to think of, you know, if they cut the deals with the thugs and thieves and dealers and everybody else, and they give them so much money on all this stuff, give them so much kickback. I mean, think about it. Hey, vote for me. Vote for me. Here's a few $100. Here's a few $1,000. You know, drugs aren't the answer for people. Put it that way. Definitely not. And, but I mean, if they can use it to control people, there you go. I mean, not good. You know, Netherlands, I believe, is the only country that ever had free open for like people that smoke marijuana. But you know, those people are different, guys. I mean, you gotta understand. A lot of them are smarter. A lot of them are intelligent. A lot of them know how to have restraint. Where I mean, some of these people here, they don't. I mean, and that's, you know, I went over there to Holland one time, flew over, and talking to this guy that lives there. They do things a lot different ways. It was really something. He even carried like certain kinds of lunch meat with him back on. He had brought him over here when he came over here, and he was taking him whatever he had left back. He was eating on the plane. And I thought, well, how did he keep that fresh? How did he keep the, you know, interesting stuff? I mean, they have different ways to do things. Taxi, like on the insurance on the cars over there, some of them, I think he told me that they considered the weight of the car as how they, like how much tax you had to pay on it. And that's different. I mean, that's different, definitely. They They do things differently over there, but they have more restraint and more common sense. Also, they have to learn how to speak 3 different languages over there. I was talking to this guy when I went back, this many years ago, and he basically their own language, and then they had to pick 2 other languages. Well, now we don't teach our children in schools to be able to. I mean, we're lucky we can get them through 1 language through school, a lot of them. But what's the deal? Why are we not? You know, is it just the way they start so early with them and get it out there, so then they have a better chance? You know, I mean, over there, also they have a pretty high rate when it comes to on anything electronics and advancements and stuff like that over there. A lot of different industries and stuff over there. But what I was going to say, I think it was a couple years back, they were thinking about doing away with all their weed and stuff, letting everybody have it and stuff. So, you know, there you go. You know, moderation on all these people and stuff, the way they do things. But that ain't the way it's done here. So it's just, you know, sometimes it's better to leave things alone when people, you know, can't control themselves and do certain things. Do you really need it anyway? Not really. Check that out. Can you zoom in on him? Or zoom in? I mean, but here you go again. It's another industry. I mean, if they don't have drugs, they can't make their money. You know, it's just like all the other stuff that goes on, you know. Come on. The difference between that and other things is it destroys lives. People's lives. You know what I'm talking about? Stuff like that. Then there's the other group, the other fractions that want to see the U.S. go. This ain't good. Yeah, we're not good at all. The UK's underneath another lockdown too. I mean, they're saying, there was one guy on YouTube, he was saying basically most of the people don't want to be under lockdown. So there's other things about that. That's when you guys probably need to go check Farmer Jones' YouTube site out about the hierarchy, about the rich trying to control everything, take over. Yeah, that's not good. You know. One little planet, and all this, just this land on this planet, there's a lot of stuff out there, guys. This is a joke. I was watching a deal. I didn't realize, I mean, it's the way you're taught in school. You're talking about Japan over there. And the islands that go from Japan up to Russia. Now what I found interesting was these islands in between Japan and Russia, actually China had acquired some of those islands in the West. what's really interesting on all this is that dating way far back, the Chinese actually had like natives there. There was almost like American Indians. They had like their faces painted up and stuff, which I found very interesting because that was something that was never taught, at least in history class on that. But then Russia went in, I guess, took some of these islands over, ran China out, I guess, what they said anyway, which is interesting. And they still have some of their military equipment stuff on some of those islands from Japan all the way up to where Russia goes on up there, they were showing, which is interesting. But the islands that they were showing, oh my God, I mean, the land mass, the land's beautiful islands. I mean, you could, it was like something that would be down in the Bahamas or something. I mean, oh my God. I mean, just unreal, some of this stuff. And it's like, and they're still fighting over land and control. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, it's just unreal about stuff. I mean, the idea of trying to control everything is just idiot. They're idiots. And that's the bottom line on all this. If they want to control stuff, what they need to do is get their own little place, their own little area, and just control their people there. Just leave it as that. Well, I guess they do. There's China. There's Russia. They got that communist in there. You got what? North Korea. Who wants a dictatorship? I mean, that's just like when we start talking about England even. People have forgot. We broke away from them, even though they became our ally down the line. And then we fought during certain wars and stuff. Between World War II, Korean War, all the rest of them. But I don't think people understand all that sometimes. Things are lost in history and in time. I mean, there's things that I learn every day. Just like I said, I didn't realize that there was actually the Chinese were in between Japan there and Russia, and they had natives that looked like our American Indians there, with painted faces and stuff. I mean, something like you'd see down even in Africa like that, which I find very interesting because, I mean, that was something that was never taught in history class or anything else for that matter. And probably most people don't know that. But they actually had some photos of and stuff that they were showing on YouTube. And here you go again. People don't know. But if you do the research and you look at all that. I know that Farmer Jones talks about the Rothschilds and stuff, and all the different elite rich and controlling everything. He goes in great detail. You guys, if you haven't checked his site out, check it out. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with any site or anything on YouTube, but well worth the information. I go to a lot of different sites and watch a lot of people that are very smart and intelligent. That's how you learn. Somebody that actually knows something. Not these ones that want to BS everything. I mean, that's just like he was talking last night. They were talking about on the testing, on the COVID stuff, and how that, you know, they're trying to lock it all down, how these tests are not accurate depending on how many times they, in cycles, how they do it. So, and they're using that political wise and stuff So you guys should check his channel out. Very good channel on all of it. People don't realize, you know, they're not very bright on some things on all of it.
Maybe one.
I mean, I was listening to the radio today, talk host today, and he was talking about Fauci. Oh my God, and going on about the stuff. And they said, well, we each took one guy's opinion. That's all. One person's opinion. We don't have anybody else out there. We can't listen to anybody else. I mean, shouldn't there be a whole, like, panel of them? Whole group of them? I mean, there's something wrong here, guys. I mean, think about that for an instant. This is just all about control. I mean, even over in England, I mean, the English over there, the people are saying like, hey, we don't want a lockdown. We want, we need some other different politicians, other things in here if that's what you're doing. I mean, that's what they're saying over there even. You know, who's pulling the strings on all this? Somebody needs to start digging and looking all the way up. You know, that's how you get to the problem with the situation there. I mean, and then there's crazy things. You got like over there in the Philippines, you know, you got them China's boats coming in, fishing boats, they sink some of them. Philippines have. And a while back, Russia sank a fishing boat. North Korea actually shot at it, what I understand. And what's interesting, Russia come into their port and they were going to do military exercises because they're, you know, they do military exercises. We do military exercises with other countries too, if they're doing different things and stuff. Just find it odd the way all this falls into play on sometimes on some of this stuff. Because, you know, Russia supposedly was being real chum buddy with China. So, I don't know. But there you go again too. If they're not you know, honoring the borders or where they're supposed to be in international waters and stuff and fishing. And here you go again. I'm sure one boat can stray, but 30, 50, 100, probably not. They're probably doing something wrong. Well, guys, I think that my battery's about ready to go dead here. So, you guys, don't forget to get out and vote tomorrow and have a good one.